Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Loving what we're going to do today. We're essentially going to peel back the curtain for just a moment to give you a look at what happens during the design process when you work with an interior designer. Project that she's worked on, what it was before, what the suggestions were, what it came to look like afterwards. And you get a lot of insight. I never knew the process until I started talking with her. She is Sandy Schuster, and it's Rooms by Sandy, Decorating Den Interior. She's our professional of the year. She's back with us. How's it going, Sandy?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Fantastic. And I'm loving what we're going to do today because it gives you the insight of your foresight in terms of what you were thinking, and also the process where somebody that works with you has choices. It's not well, this is what I have for you, and that's it, right?
Right.
Why don't we take a look at this project? Tell us about what type of project this is, how it all began for you.
Okay. Well, this particular project, let me just share my screen here. Can you see it?
Sure.
This is the before. This is a couple's home. They have a very pretty home. It's a lot of classic details with the crown molding, and they have arches. And it was a long process. I actually gave them 6 options. So I wanted to, talk to you about that process. Here's another picture of their before. You can see the arches in their home.
Sure.
Really, really a lot of pretty detail in the home. And then their before, kind of a lackluster sofa that's really seen its time. And
I didn't want to say anything, but it's the first thing that I thought of. That and that leather chair, that in the foreground, that looks like it's seen some quality relaxation over time.
Right.
Yeah, and those for me, far from the designer, but right away I'm looking at those two. Nothing wrong with them. They're just good, basic, get it done. But I see them not staying right away.
Right. Especially with their pretty home.
Mm-hmm.
So I always start out by asking tons of questions, and then I narrow it down to what do they want? They wanted me to just focus on their living room.
Mm-hmm.
They want no more brown, so no more brown leather. They do like the classic style that mirrors their home architecture. They want to consider an overhead light, a chandelier. They like the artwork, and that was this poppy artwork here. They like that, but they consider changing it. And they like their area rug, and you notice their area rug has some real gray neutral tones, and this is really bright red. So there's nothing there to really bring it all together, but I thought, let me see what I could do there. And then they wanted to change the paint color in their home. And then they wanted low seats. They want comfort. They want some more color. They want to understand how it fits in the space. And they want better floor lamps. So that was just kind of generally and I always confirm this with my clients before I get started, because I want to make sure, did I hear you right? So I gave them 6 options. So this was the first option. And I wanted to use their area rug and give them new furnishings. And actually I put draperies in the space, a new chandelier, better floor lamps. And then I showed them the rendering, but then I actually then show them the products that I'm selecting and the measurements, because that's really important to make sure it fits in the space. So here I took their current existing area rug. I put in a new sofa. This was the drapery that I recommended. It's a sheer fabric, but it has some really nice neutral grays in it. And then this was the color that I recommended. This is called agreeable gray, and this is actually the color they ended up picking. And then a new coffee table and end table.
I find it kind of funny that it's agreeable gray, and apparently they agreed.
Right.
With you.
Right.
Yeah. Very fresh looking. That couch has, in my eyes, somewhat of a similar style to what they had. So it's not wasn't like a complete where they looked at it and was like, what, wait a minute, this is just no, this is not
Right,
us.
right.
But so much more looks more comfortable, more modern, more plush, if you will, and certainly the chairs
Right.
definitely take it up notches.
Right. And then I showed them a lot more details. Like this is the detailing on the chair. So I did visit them several times with design options and also emailed them back and forth. So this didn't all happen in one meeting.
Sure, sure.
But I really pride myself in making sure they love it before they buy it. So I'll keep on going back to the drawing board until they love it. And then this was a chandelier that I recommended. I recommended a chandelier in their hallway with those arches. A 40 by 40 mirror. So as you're looking into the home, you see this instead of that small little cabinet and then a new cabinet. So that was the first option.
I'd like to share what I'm thinking initially,
Okay.
even looking at this these choices. That cabinet and the sofa have a this is just my description and it can be way off, but sort of a retro feel to it, sort of a 1960s kind of flashback, modern spin on the 60s with the feet on both of those pieces of furniture. Are you getting that as well?
Yes, it's more
Okay.
of a, you're right. It's a kind of a modern spin on that mid-century modern style.
Yeah.
Gray wasn't really popular in mid-century modern, but I love that they've incorporated that a different color and the lighter wood versus a darker wood. And
Hmm.
yeah, the cabinet and a
Yeah.
little bit of bling on the cabinets.
Yes, yes. This is just face value. Just my first thought was because of the legs on both of them, where it tapers, reminds me of yeah, I guess of the 60s and some of the style there, but they seem very traditional, so maybe that's why this might work for them.
Right. So that was option one. This was option two. I used a different paint color on the wall
Okay.
and I did more of a neutral furniture and a different rug, but I used their current artwork. So
Hmm.
and this was the color scheme. The rug had a little bit of blue in it, but it really coordinated nicely with their poppies. It's kind of it's called nude, this color. But it's just but I thought it really popped with using the red. And then I always show the dimensions and because that's a really important piece in my floor plans before I even put it in. I put the floor plan in there and I measure out the furniture. In this case, they were really particular about how it fits, so I actually used blue tape to
Huh.
figure out where it all went.
So how many total options did you give them in terms of
Six,
you did
six.
six? Okay.
This is
And
a
at
second,
the end, we're going to find out which one they selected.
right?
Okay. I'm going to start writing down my choices and curious, maybe in a certain order, but yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay,
This is good.
okay.
The
Option two.
this is option two. The the furniture has a little feel like option one. Different, but kind of in there. What made you choose those pieces of furniture? Was it that they're a more conservative kind of style, initially, and we don't want to
Um,
we want to stay with that?
yeah. A big factor was the low seating,
Okay.
and then it has
Hmm.
stainless steel legs, and that mirrors the floor lamp over here, and then the chandelier.
Okay.
So I
So
just felt like that coordinated nicely together, and then it would incorporate their current artwork. I did do a different color. This is called network gray, the color, which is a real neutral gray for their paint color. So
hmm, the low seating identifies a lot in terms of the sofa and the chair.
right, right.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah. So
Hmm.
then this was another option, using some different chairs, the same rug that I picked in the last one, the same sofa, but kind of going a little bit outside of maybe their comfort zone on the fabric selection.
Hmm.
Um, and then I used the agreeable gray and I used a gold tone pattern in the shears.
Interesting.
So this this was the gold tone pattern instead of the gray, a gold tone chandelier. And then the chair I thought was really fun. This is a new fabric that came out with this supplier. And then this lamp has a gold base instead of stainless steel.
Wow. And gold is making a comeback.
Right, right. So I thought, you know, and I thought the gold then really coordinates nicely with that poppy picture if they wanted to continue to use that. So that's option 3.
Got it. Don't reveal which one they selected because
Okay,
I'm writing them down. I'm kind of curious. I'll let you know mine before we
okay,
get there and see what we got.
okay, okay. So this was option 4. So I kept their area rug and I
Hmm.
put in different furniture, kind of went back to the gray draperies and then but used the network gray, and I did a different coffee table and end table. Again, picking up on the stainless steel, I did a different, show them different options for lamps. This lamp actually coordinated a little bit better with a lamp they had in their dining room. But I don't want to be matchy-matchy, but I thought, well, it's a different style they might consider. I think just the fact that they wanted to put a chandelier in that room
Hmm.
made a lot of sense. It just was going to give it a good vibe. But picked out different pillow select fabrics for the pillows. Used the nude colored sofa again, but different coffee table and end table,
Mm-hmm.
incorporating their current existing rug.
Did they tell you that they were open to gray tones? Because we're kind of sitting in that foundation.
Well, she said no more brown.
Okay.
So, and brown is a very warm color, and they really liked that rug. So,
Hmm.
it just seemed like it made some sense, and I liked it with the blue. It just kind of made it look nice, I thought. Okay, so that's option 4. So then, anything else on this one?
Was it more of a challenge that they wanted to keep the rug and potentially the artwork?
Yes. Part of it was budget based, and part of it was they really liked those 2 items. Even though they didn't really go together, but there could have been something maybe I could have done to maybe bring it together, but it just seemed like it would be too busy in the room when it was just this. I wanted to be just a nice, pretty classic room.
Right. Hmm. Um,
So as we're talking, the husband and wife, they didn't agree on things. So that's why I kept kind of going back and forth. And then in passing, the wife said, you know, Sandy, I saw this tufted leather sofa I really liked. I thought,
hmm.
well, that could be really cool. So this was my 4th option. Let's put a tufted leather sofa in the room, use their
Hmm.
current rug, go back to the lighter paint color, silver chandelier, a different fabric on the side chair. And as we're talking about it, they decided they didn't want to, in some of my scenes, I have 2 chairs. They said, Sandy, we just want 1 chair. That's what we currently have. That's what we want to do. So I said, okay. I kind of liked that the other chair would balance it out. And I thought that there was room for it, but that's what they wanted. So
Would you say the balancing act there is going with the rule of thirds?
yeah,
Where okay,
yes.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So I thought, well, I'll balance it out with something to balance out that chair. And I'll show you what I ended up doing. But this was option 5.
So
So
before we
using
get to the
different
reveal,
fabrics.
did obviously don't tell us which one yet,
Okay.
but did they pick one and go with it, or did they pick a combination of I like, part of number 2, part of number 4, I like this from that one. Just curious how are we going to go with that?
Well, it's a surprise.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, yeah. So
Interesting sofa. Like it. Hmm.
yeah. And then I did since it's custom, I picked the wood on the legs to coordinate with the coffee table. So and then this was option 6. And this was more of a white tufted sofa with a green side chair. And then the lighter color, agreeable gray. So this was the color pattern.
Interesting. I have to say that I didn't initially focus on the fireplace until number 6 because you've got a darker top or frame around it and lighter colors in back of it. And right away, my eye goes right to that fireplace.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So after a lot of negotiating, going back and forth, they just decided they wanted to keep their current coffee table. So, are you ready? This was the final. They
Wow.
they they picked the leather tufted sofa. Um, and I kept their coffee table. I coordinated the legs the same color as the coffee table. I balanced out this green colored chair over here with a flower arrangement that I put together. And it just, I think it turned out so pretty.
Yeah. Yeah. It really does look striking. And I said before with the leather couch, I was like, wow, wait a minute. We got something different here. And that looks um it's classy, but it takes it up a few notches. I don't judge anybody. Just curious. Coffee table. Why did they want to keep it? What was the story behind it? Was there anything?
They just liked it. They felt like it was big where they could put their drinks. Um, but
Hmm.
they didn't like what I had presented to them. They didn't give me a whole lot of feedback on it, but kind of in the 11th hour, they said no. And I says, well, if we're gonna keep that coffee table, I want to coordinate it with um match. They wanted side tables. So I got this set of 3 side tables because it matches the black in the coffee table. So yeah, that was a little bit more of a compromise, but
Hmm.
I think overall it turned out well. I really
Yeah.
love the stainless steel lamp with I did stainless steel rods up here with an acrylic end cap.
Nice.
Just a really soft stationary drapery. So this was in the hall, and this is another chandelier. I didn't get a good picture of that. I wish that I would have. But there's another chandelier then in their hallway that really accentuates the arches that they have in their home. And that mirror was a really nice scale. So it just and they also kept they didn't want a new cabinet, they kept this cabinet. So they traded some cabinets that they had in the home, and that's fine. I worked with them on that. Um, but I think it all came together really nice.
It looks
And
wonderful.
here's another photo of it showing how we kind of the end result.
Well, interestingly, if you're keeping the coffee table, you had to work around that. So you had to incorporate some kind of wood tone in there, which you did.
Mhm.
Um, what was the initial fireplace? Was what's there always what was there, or was that changed at all around it?
That was there. I just added the draperies
Hmm.
and they had the poppy picture there. And so I just think it kind of got lost. I mean, I could kind of flip back the before. Don't get too dizzy here.
Uh,
That was the before. So I think the stationary draperies just gave that fireplace, it just encased it and just gave it
yes,
a factor.
100%.
Just it just I think it just it's
Yeah.
it's and we took some of the pictures down there, just simple, and I just really I think it highlights it. And then that chandelier, it took a couple times to get it installed because when you first tried to install it, the threads didn't thread together, and then the dimmer didn't work, the light bulbs didn't work, but it turned out beautifully after everything.
I'm astounded here looking at those drapes, the fireplace, and what that has done for it. Even just little nuances like that, professionally done, I would have never thought. I would have just, yeah, why put drapes up there? It's almost as if it bookends or frames that fireplace.
Yeah, I mean, they're really pretty windows and it's beautiful molding around the windows. So I didn't want to cover them. I just wanted to accentuate them. And notice I didn't put the rods on the crown molding up here. It's just right below.
Mm-hmm.
And then but it just frames it, and it really highlights now the beauty of the architecture in that home.
But the way you move, I've never seen that done before with two windows that are relatively close to each other, putting the curtains on each side. Others may, have traditional, curtain left, curtain right on one window, same on the other one. It just it all blends and works well together. Really looks great.
Yeah, thank you. I
Oh,
thought it turned out really nice.
yeah. It's fresh, it's classy. Um, Kudos to you. Nothing wrong with that table, but working with the table.
Yeah, I
Because
think it turned out. And then the
yeah,
flower arrangement I did to really balance out this over here. Um, so I thought it turned out.
yeah. This is the little things, call them little things, but all the little things all add up to a full design that we don't see, we don't know about the principles, the balance, all of that going on there. And I'm going to take my hand and cover up here on my screen um the the piece of furniture underneath the TV soundbar above it. Uh if you didn't have that, we wouldn't the table would be on its own. Like, why is that there? Where are we picking up the wood?
Yeah,
It'd be kind of like a lost little island. Uh,
right.
but now everything looks like it was made for itself. In the corner left of the fireplace, what is that? It's hard to see from this distance. Is it?
That's I was gonna take that out of the picture, but I thought it balanced out what we had on the other side of the room. It's just a little footstool. I think someone can pull it up and they can sit on it. It's like a little ottoman. That was
Hmm,
something that they had. And so I kept it in the picture to balance out
yeah,
all the furniture we had on the other side. But that wasn't something I put in the room. It's something that they had. Then they
and
have a shelf. They have a bookcase over here that's built in.
yep, yep, and that ottoman footstool, whatever it is, does balance it, doesn't get in the way, and it's additional seating. Because if you just have, quick gathering, something informal, somebody could sit right there,
Yeah,
maybe two, depending on if they're close.
yeah.
Husband and wife, at least you have, additional seating. But, watching TV, table moves out of the way. I'm putting that in front of my couch and my feet are going up on it.
Right. Yeah, in my drawings, I had the chair over here, but I could have also put a chair there. It would have been nice. But there was plenty of room over here for a table and all this stuff instead of the chair. So,
Hmm. And maybe the chair would take away from the window. I don't know. Maybe
yeah,
it might be too
yeah,
much. This is just
yeah,
this seems like it's just enough of everything. Thank you for sharing. That was really cool.
yeah.
Um, and by the way, for anybody that cares, I wrote down I liked number one. I circled number four, and number two was a choice, but I was kind of gravitating toward number four. I can't remember if that had the leather chair.
It had the leather sofa. It was the
Okay.
gray leather sofa and the blue chair.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Um,
So you
that's
didn't like you ruled out the poppy picture, the red
yes,
picture. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
I
and that
think it just made it more soothing in that room just to take the red out.
yes, I just didn't do it for me. Wasn't that it was bad, the nude color,
Right.
right? It was just like, it's all right, but I stay in the family. Like, I would go with the grays, the blues, maybe the teal, depending on which, when we're looking at. The red just kind of like came out of nowhere. Um,
Yeah.
wouldn't work for me. There were so
Right.
many other ones that were I think great choices, and I think they made a great choice. You did a great job. This is great. Thank you for taking us through the process. Super cool.
Yeah.
Sandy, how do we find you? Somebody's got questions about any of this, even just wants to start the conversation. How do they find you?
They can email me at sschuster@decoratingden.com. They can look at my website at roomsbysandy.decoratingden.com or call me on my phone 720-885-0019.
It was super cool looking at this process, going through it. It really
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. I don't
And
sell anything until my clients love it. So
sure,
it was worth doing all the options for them.
this was like watching HGTV, waiting for the reveal at the end. It really was.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thanks. Have a good day.
You too. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.